and welcome to Shamanic Sundays. To you, Dad, and to our community out there. Good to see you all. We love it when you put into the chat where you're visiting us from, where you're joining us from, and how you're doing. If you have any questions. And I just have to share, we were just having an interesting conversation right before we went live here about how it physiologically becomes harder for the male hearing system to process female voices as you get older. Did I get that right?
Something like that. Yeah, that's what the audiologist told me last week when I went for a checkup to try to get hearing aids so I can do better at hearing and understanding.
That is super interesting. What did you say? No, I'm just kidding. So I wonder if that happens with female brain ears hearing male brain voices.
No, I didn't say anything about that.
Huh.
No,
That seems like that could be an interesting topic for one of your writings down the line, or one of our Shamanic Sundays conversations about hearing each other better. But I'm going to save that one because I got a this week that came in. Well, wait, whoops, I forgot to say Shamanic Sundays, why we're here. So this is Nicole and I and our dad and mom kind of dreamed this up, I guess, with Spirit's help, as a way to share your work and wisdom, Dad, as a really pioneering bridge builder between Indigenous shamanic wisdom in your 55 plus years of studying, and the beautiful teachings that you have to share with the world that are so needed at this time. And so Shamanic Sundays is a way to meet once a week, come together with our community out there, and reflect and share and talk about how shamanic principles can be useful in our week, in the week ahead. So good to see you out there, Roger and Sue, and all of our other friends out there. And in the spirit of sacred reciprocity and right relationship, Dad, would you start us off with a prayer for the morning, please?
con mucho gusto. Yes. Gratitude to you, Great Spirit, Creator, who gives us this breath of life and gives us this opportunity of human incarnation to wake up, wise up, and remember the truth of who and what we are, how we're all connected. And in that sacred unity, we give thanks for our ancestors and the ancestor spirits of the land that we live on, here where I am, and the Chumash people, Grandfather Simu and other elders. Give thanks for our families and our communities and our teachers and our button pushing situations that help us to see where we need to do some work with our consciousness to polish up our stardust. So thank you for bringing us together here today. Those listening and who will be listening in your own time. And may we use our hearts and minds and spirits to open our awareness to your presence, great mystery, always within us all and available for accessing when we choose to open our minds and hearts and spirits to be channels for your healing light and love. Oh, healing of the sacred hoop, prayers for healing of the sacred hoop.
Thank you. Thank you. I just had to change my location. I was having some connectivity issues. So pardon me if we lost any of you for a minute there. But so the question that came in, it was really interesting because it was about like using shamanic principles to not be held back in I don't remember the exact words, but that was the gist of the question. And I took it in because it was really interesting. I was looking at, there's some tomato bushes and lime trees outside in Nicole's yard. And I was saying to her yesterday how it's so interesting because I always see the flowers as they're, starting their blossoming process. But then I never see the teeny, teeny, teeny little buds. All of a sudden, I just see like teeny tomatoes or like teeny limes, but I don't see the ones that are like, the size of half of a pinky finger or something, right? So then this morning, when I went to check and see if there was any questions from any of our community members for Shamanic Sundays, I saw this question of, here, let me pull it up exactly. Um, how can one use shamanic principles to fully blossom? So how perfect is that? Because then I'm going to try to hold this up and show you. I don't know if that's going to work. Darn it. Okay, I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to drop it to my screen so I can share better. But lo and behold, this morning I see these teeny little baby tomatoes, like smaller than my pinky nail, and teeny little lime blossoms starting to turn into the actual limes. So I thought, oh my gosh, that's just so perfect. And what a beautiful question. And so synergistic with what I had been looking at and talking to Nicole about out in the garden. So I just wanted to thank Sue for putting in that question and put it forward to you. So how we can use shamanic principles to let ourselves blossom instead of getting in our own way so often.
Well, when you speak about the blossoming process, it reminds me of the Huichol people's understanding of the growth process, which is through what they call Tekutsi Nakaway, great grandmother growth, who's the intelligence, energy power that helps what you just described of seeing those little buds come out on the branch, and over time kind of unfurl into the blossoming, the fullest blossoming of the potential of the seed of that particular plant, be it or lime or tomato or whatever it might be, or flower. So great grandmother growth, the Kutsi Nakaway, is always working through the different seasons of her manifestation. All of the seasons are necessary, winter, spring, fall, summer, to bring forth the blossoming of whatever the seed is. And I'm reminded of a saying from Meister Eckhart, a mystic from, I don't know, the 10th or 11th century, who said something to the effect of pear seeds grow into pear trees, and apple seeds grow into apple trees, and lime seeds or whatever grow into lime trees. And we have God seeds within us. We have seeds of potentiality inside of us to grow into fullest blossoming, greatest good of our highest potentials, which is waking up to remember the truth of our being, that we're sacred, worthy, luminous beings, that we are loved by the creative power of the universe. We are love at the essence of our being, and we're here in this life with the love that we are to share it, be channels for it out into the world, for helping to create a healthy and just and peaceful win-win world, the kind of world we're capable of creating if we all show up and do our part to bring through the medicine gifts and teachings that we have, if we grow them to their fullest blossoming and highest potential. So the growth process is inherent with the universe. In fact, it's an ongoing creative manifesting universe. It's not set in stone every instant. It's new. It's being recreated by the creative power of the universe toward realization of that highest potential, the waking up, to recognize the sacredness of our unity. So we can work with that process by paying attention to the guidance we get from within us through our senses, through listening to our hearts instead of our egos, listening to our deeper being, our souls, instead of feeding our egos, and holding an intention to align, connect, and commune, and humbly listen for guidance from that creative wisdom power of the universe that's in us and that we're in, and that nature is a manifestation of on the physical plane, showing us how it works. So when we hold an intention, because everything starts with intention, to realize our highest potentials, when we hold that as an intention to grow our fullest blossoming greatest good of our creative talents, all of which are given as gifts of grace from the great mystery, from spirit. When we hold that intention, then it behooves us to look at how the universe works, as we learned from nature, paying attention. And whatever it is we want to have more of, whatever it is we want to have grow or prosper or blossom or flourish, then the operating principle from shamanic understanding, indigenous earth-based wisdom, is give thanks, bring mindfulness and attention to what you already have, what you have now in your life that you're thankful for, whatever it might be, like this breath, like the body, like the things we take for granted, that you're able to hear the words that I'm saying. You're able to hear a bird singing. You're able to hear the sound of the wind rustling in the trees. Just an example of one of our senses to connect us to communion with nature, with the Great Spirit. So to give thanks, to bring mindfulness to what it is we have in our lives that we're thankful for, bring our awareness down into our hearts. And this is a physical manifestation on my chest here, Huichol art, of the flowers in our hearts of love, compassion, and tenderness and generosity, uh, blossoming to fullest realization. What we put our attention into with gratitude grows. Grace grows where gratitude flows. So the different ceremonies of ways of giving back from our hearts, true gratitude from our hearts to the source, whatever your sense is, the source of the gifts that you're thankful for in your life. When we open our hearts and send that thankfulness out from our hearts, then our hearts are open, we're able to receive more. We're energized and we're vibrating the web of interconnectivity, Indra's web, uh, to activate that web, to vibrate in a way that'll bring to us and bring us to the people and situations and interaction that if we work them skillfully, will open the doorway for fullest blossoming, greatest good to come through. So the underlying principle here, medicine principle of right relationship is recognizing the sacredness of reciprocity for all that we're given, all we've been given, all that we're being given now and being alive, all that we open our awareness to, our hearts to, that we're thankful for, that sweeten our lives. And we send out a beam of energy, you might say, or however you feel that, gratitude to the source, the creative infinite source of the universe, God, the great spirit, the mystery. It opens us up, it polishes our stardust so we can be open and receive the guidance about how to act, to respond, create a relationship with whatever's happening in our lives, challenging or whatever, that in fact can open the doorway to bring through that fullest blossoming and greatest good of our highest potentials. It all starts with gratitude, which is based on awareness in the moment, paying attention to what's truly sweet in our lives that we're thankful for. All right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about the tech there. I lost some connectivity, so my apologies if I was distracting to anybody as you were sharing, but thank you. So I want to invite everyone listening or watching to think of something that's like, challenging you right now, that's feels dark in your life and heavy or hard, something you want to change. And and just think of what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of what's stopping you from blossoming. And and then Dad, maybe you could take us, as we do a weekly visualization, you could take us into a visualization to go into that block and allow our natural flow to blossom, to come through whatever's stopping us. I was doing my morning meditation and prayers today, and and I was actually, sometimes I have my own things I do, sometimes I listen to different meditations or prayers, and this morning I was listening to one, and the person was saying, you are who you've been looking for. And I've heard this prayer before, and I was interpreting it as like that I was looking for someone out there. And then this morning I had a different interpretation of that as I am like allowing myself to be who I'm meant to be. So it kind of felt tied in with this question and the blossoming lime tree and tomato bushes. So yeah, so it feels really fitting. But so for each of us, let's each think of something that's challenging us, that's biting us, that's hurting us, that's holding us down, that we are dealing with ongoing lately or our whole lives, or we know we're going to have to be managing, facing this coming week. And Poppy, if you could take us into a visualization on that and stepping into that and letting ourselves open up to blossom who we're meant to be.
All right, thank you. Well, everything we do is based on our awareness in the moment. So I want to invite us to bring that gift of our awareness to the inner light, to go inside, just letting our eyelids, whenever you're comfortable, letting your eyelids come down over your eyes and letting your awareness open to what you experience with your eyes closed. Just taking a moment to experience, notice in your awareness what you're aware of with your eyes closed. And we're given this gift of awareness in and through our sensory organs of our bodies with the life force flowing in with the breath. So awareness of being breathed, the cycle of being breathed in the new activation and the releasing and letting go of the old, and the pause, and then the new breath, a new wave of life force energy flows into us. So bringing our awareness to reflect on whatever challenges might be in your life right now, or that you're anticipating coming up, or might come up in a coyote way, a surprise way, as they so often do. And our awareness brings in information of our response to the situation. What feelings are triggered? What sensations are triggered by the situation, by the challenge? What thoughts are triggered? What energetic impacts are triggered by our response to the situation? So just noticing our instantaneous reflexive actions to the stimulus of the triggering situation, and remembering to breathe in and out, letting go and letting our awareness notice those reactions, but also to hold it in a larger context and framework, that those reactions are not who I am, and allow our awareness to notice the story in our minds that's triggered about the situation, and what is a primary blocker of actualizing our potentials, the realization of the highest potentials of the situation we're in. And through that challenge is fear. Fear and anxiety triggered by fear. And just noticing our experience of fear, whatever that might be for you. Again, reminding yourself that you're not that response, you're more than that. But you notice it with your awareness, and you can connect because you always have access. We always have access to the larger presence, to the great spirit, to the infinite power of the universe, whatever you want to call that. We always have access to that and its wisdom, guidance, and power, and intelligence, and creativity by which to, when we humble ourselves and listen to it, open to it, and provide that instruction, you might say, about how to create a response, which means a relationship to what's been triggered by the challenging situation. And when we look at, open with awareness to the story that's triggered by it all, notice, 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 is that story that's running in my consciousness right now, is that a story that constricts me, that tightens me up, clogs up the pipes, inflames the situation, creating more suffering? And if we notice that it is, we have the power to pull the plug on that story, reminding ourselves, that's a story. I put my intention of belief into that story. Here's the consequence of it, more suffering. And I have the opportunity with the next breath leaving to release energy of the thought forms of the story that create and feed that suffering, to let it go. To have and breathe in compassion for myself and my human response to the situation. Breathe in tenderness and kindness and caring for myself. And breathe out and let go of what no longer serves me of being alive in this moment. Remembering my intention, the qualities of consciousness and being that I want to have grow stronger in my life. Engaging the creative wisdom power within by asking the question within, how can I create a response, a relationship to this challenging situation, and my initial response to it in a way that opens the doorway for me to receive the guidance about how to respond to it. That opens the doorway for fullest blossoming, greatest good to come through. So it starts with intention and then an active practice. How can I create a relationship to the truth of what's been triggered by this challenging situation? How can I use it so I'm not just victim to it, poor me, reactive, negative, disempowered response? How can I empower myself to see that with the next breath coming in, it comes in totally clean with the invitation of spirit to co-create with it my response to the situation? How can I create a response to the situation that brings through more kindness, more compassion, more empathy, more strength, more courage, more creativity, more joy, more vitality, more empowerment, so I can show up and be a channel for serving higher will through this situation instead of feeding my ego based on fear and anxiety triggered by an illusionary perception of separation and identifying the totality of my being as my ego and its stories, which is like a constricted prison from accessing the truth of our infinite being, our connection to infinite being, infinite intelligence, infinite creativity. So reminding ourselves, no matter what happens and what it triggers in response with us, if we hold that intention, we start each day with the intention, I'm going to use everything that happens today. I'm going to use all of my responses of what happens today to help me wake up, remember the truth of my being, that I am love, and my love is forgiving and receiving, and to live love now, that no matter the situation, if I'm alive, conscious, with awareness, breathing, we have the ability to wake up. Remember, we're more than our story, more than our body, more than our sensations, more than our thoughts and feelings. We're way more than that. And we can access that way more and call on it, attune with it, connect with it, and be channels for it. Showing up to do our part to help heal this sacred hoop of life that's so challenged now through ignorance and arrogance. Being part of the healing solution for the healing sacred hoop. May we all consciously use the challenges of our lives to open that Nayarika, that doorway, bring through fullest blossoming, greatest good for the healing in the sacred hoop. May it be so. Grace and gratitude. Oh, Brios.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you
I
for you.
grew, I grew, I grew a blossom while you were talking. I took a picture and wanted to share that. If you can zoom in, you can see that there's the little flower turning into the little lime.
Oh
And
yeah,
then, isn't that beautiful?
yeah, it is.
Um,
We had,
so,
excuse me for interrupting, but just going out this morning with Andrea to look at some of the things that were happening in the garden. So we have some cactus that are shooting up these 2 feet high and growing stronger. These columns of growth of amazing coming out of the cactus. I don't even know what to call them, but they're so beautiful. It's like
mm,
other growth, always seeking to bring through that growth power energy. So exciting.
yeah, yeah, it is so exciting. And um, in the comments, we have someone commented on fear being something that, is often what stops us from letting ourselves blossom. And and I think of, I just so often go to back to the power of nature as my inspiration, when I'm feeling fear or insecure, and so in context of everything we're talking about this morning, um, it's like I think of that fear as and these buds and the cactus and the lime and the tomatoes just reminding us, like, the fear is just one of many human emotions that we feel, right? Like, we're never not going to feel that. So breathing into the naturalness of that, and then not letting that stop us, though. I remember being at this event with Ariana Grande years ago. No, not Ariana Grande. Sorry, wrong genre. Ariana Huffington. Um, and she wrote a book on being fearless or something like that. And it was about, not that we don't have fear, but how do we not let fear stop us? So it's like we feel it for sure. And our natural DNA is to bloom and blossom and let ourselves bloom. Like you were just taking us through that exercise and the
And
little
I think one of
plant.
the things that can help us do that is to befriend fear, to recognize fear,
Hmm.
the survival mechanism built into the evolutionary wisdom of the human organism. It's not going to go away. So how can we befriend it? How can we create an ally relationship with our fears and anxieties? Go to the root and see where they're coming from, and then drop into let the experience of fear help us explore, what do I have faith and trust in, if anything?
Hmm.
So not judge ourselves in a negative way because we have fear or that the fear is negative. It's a natural response, but look at the root of where it's coming from, learn from that, and also then open up to um, what is a means of connecting with what you believe in and have faith in and trust in from your own
Yeah.
experience. And therein is the base of security.
Hmm.
So the fear doesn't, you use the fear to empower you through an ally relationship instead of being constricted and blocked.
Yeah. I just got kind of teared up listening to you say that, because it made me think of how much fear comes from, like, the kind of societal voices, or, like the third grader who said something that hurt your feelings when you were a little kid, or the parent who shut you down on some idea, or the teacher who told you something was impossible, or you didn't want to hurt somebody else's feelings, or you know and just, again, just us remembering, well, just stick for me remembering that my allowing my natural, who I am, my natural power, the natural wisdom in me to blossom like that, that is why I was planted here, why each of us was planted here,
Oh,
I think. So, yeah. Got a
well,
comment on your nice haircut, Poppy.
well, thank you. My hair, there's not much left. It's going quickly. So part of the growth process of aging is, some things start to go,
Hmm.
and so to let them go gracefully and focus on what is there that you have to be thankful for.
Yeah, yeah. What parts of us can keep blossoming every day, as even as the biological things shift in our bodies, which I certainly am feeling myself too. So, um, thank you all so much for this great morning. Thank you again, Sue, for that beautiful question. I feel like we were connected in that because it felt so resonant with me too. And we hope it brought up some good stuff for each of you that you can take into the week ahead. Anything else you want to add this for us to take with us, our shamanic wisdom bundle for the week ahead, Dad?
Just a reminder, everything we're experiencing has the potential to be a vehicle to wake up, to wise up, drop down into being a channel for healing, light, and love. Live love now.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Much love to you and to all of our friends and community out there. Please share Shamanic Sundays with friends, colleagues, family you think might also benefit from it. And remember, you can send in questions ahead of time to Tom or myself. And we look forward to seeing you next Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And you can always see replays, or if you missed any, on Tom's YouTube channel too. All the recordings are up there. So, all right. Have a great week. Thank you again. Much love, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.